Thank you for that introduction, and good morning, Deans Minor and Prober, advising deans and E4Cs, members of the faculty and administration, and finally, family, friends, and fellow graduates. Thank you all for being here as my peers and I transition to the next phase of our medical careers. Standing on this stage of such accomplished graduates, I'm incredibly honored and humbled to represent the Stanford School of Medicine, class of 2015. I'm also a little terrified. First of all, I'm wearing a French pastry hat, not sure it's gonna stay on. And for those of you who are lucky enough to hear my friend Daniel Hurwitz speak on match day, you know that the bar is set pretty high for speeches around here. Needless to say, I've thought long and hard about the message I want to send with this speech. But for some background, I think I'll take a page from Mindy Kaling and begin by outlining some of the alternative titles I was considering. One was called, "Are They Taking Attendance? A high-yield review of Stanford Medical Student isms delivered at 1.7 speed." By the way, guys, I heard there might have been a streaming option today, so thanks for being here. Another option I considered was Close Encounters of the Awkward Kind. A class remembers and tries to forget Project Prepare. I felt it was too soon for that one. And finally, Stanford Medicine, class of 2015, a randomized prospective human trial of the flipped classroom model by Dr. Charles Prober. That one is still in submission. I want to take a moment now to bring us back to our first days at the School of Medicine. For some of us, that time was 4 years ago. For others, it was over a decade. After years of preparing for medical school, preparing to become physicians, we were finally at the threshold of our careers. We were so enthusiastic, but also unsure about what the future would hold for us. Our time here has since shaped each of us in a myriad of ways. Campus life not only brought us new friends, colleagues, and mentors, but for some, it also brought engagements, spouses, and children. Some of us have also lost loved ones along the way, and all of these moments have irrevocably changed us. In our years together, we also expanded our professional horizons, with our class amassing an impressive 18 advanced degrees outside of medicine, 8 of which were dual doctoral degrees. And through our pursuits outside of medicine, some of us also discovered new career opportunities, like when Michael Henderson was inspired to become a big city consultant. By the way, Henderson, drinks are on you tonight. Speaking of which, at some point during our time here, we all discovered the magic of Rudy's and then the patio. But most notably, from the day we started clinics, we would never really be the same as those bright-eyed individuals who gathered here for orientation. How could we be, after gaining such privileged access into the human condition? Indeed, we were lucky enough to be with our patients and their families during their most vulnerable moments, from the depths of human suffering to life's most joyous occasions. For our own loved ones, this wealth of perspective had unforeseen consequences. Sure, they were happy to show us their weird rashes and send us a litany of symptoms to interpret. But they were less thrilled when we began describing things in gross detail. "Meghan, I'm in the middle of eating," became a common refrain in my house, for example. And our growing perspective only made us more eager to serve our patients in any ways we could, whether that meant following up on consults or simply providing reassurance at difficult moments. But despite our enthusiasm, the weight of our responsibilities was sometimes daunting. We often felt overtired and unprepared. We missed nights out with friends, and we were short with our families when they didn't deserve it. Driving to the hospital for early pre-rounds We felt like Will Smith in I Am Legend. Does no one else exist at 4 a.m.? Getting pimped on rounds when we didn't know the answer. We were as subtle as Billy Madison in a spelling bee. Our protein bar budget skyrocketed. Our clearance at the VA is still in process. And negotiating with our residents for a day off was an awkward dance that we reluctantly mastered. I won't even mention the joy of being scrutinized for scrub technique in the OR. No touching, no touching! Overall, these elements did not define our educational experience. But being the typical Stanford student that I am, I recently set up a meeting to discuss these issues. I met with my friend Stacy, who graduates today with both an MD and an MBA. Stacy pointed out that the self-determination theory, a theory of human motivation, can help explain the challenges of medical education. What this theory and its research boil down to is essentially this. There is a core set of conditions that need to be met in any workplace in order to have job satisfaction. Some of these conditions may feel obvious. You have to feel a sense of belongingness, competence, and autonomy to be happy at work. Pretty straightforward, right? But unfortunately, as the student doctors, we often miss the mark. But there's a fourth condition, and this one is perhaps the most important, particularly as we begin our careers in medicine. In order to be happy with the work you do, you have to feel a sense of purpose. As medical professionals, we are fortunate to have an inherent purpose to our work, taking care of our patients. We all entered this field because of a great respect for human life. It's what gets us up at ungodly hours and sustains us through marathon rounds, graham cracker meals in the break room, and dismal personal financial projections. Not you though, Henderson. You're good. And now, more than ever, promoting our respect for human life is vitally important. Because just as we have been evolving over our years at Stanford, so too has the world been changing, both at home and abroad. It is our duty as physicians to protect human dignity, not only in hospitals and clinics, but in our global communities as well. As stewards of health for both our patients and our neighbors, we will be called upon to advocate for those in need. And when we answer this call, we must remind our communities that, regardless of age, gender, race, religion, or sexual orientation, we are all bound together in the human condition. Speaking of people we are bound to, my classmates and I owe an extreme debt of gratitude to all of you. Thank you, first of all, to our incredible family and friends, both those who are here today and those at home. Thank you for putting up with us when we were tired and hangry. Thank you for being our sounding boards, our shoulders to cry on, and our cheerleaders. Your many sacrifices got us here today, and we are forever grateful. And to my own family, I love you and am so appreciative of everything you do. So just for my dad, I'll give this advice. Leave the gun, take the cannolis. Thank you also to our faculty mentors and advisors at the School of Medicine. We have been so fortunate to learn from your examples in professionalism, compassion, and thought leadership. Thank you for always giving us a seat at the table and for helping propel our many endeavors. A big thank you as well to members of the administration, many of whom are here today and have been setting up all morning. Without your guidance, I guarantee some of us, including myself, would not be graduating today. So thank you for your continuous support and dedication. And finally, thank you to our patients. I just finished HIPAA training, so I'm not going to go into any specifics. But know this, you have been the heart of our medical education. Thank you for allowing us the privilege of learning from your care. Practicing medicine is incredibly rewarding, but it is not without challenges. And how we handle these challenges will shape the kind of physicians we become. So now I'd like to close with a quote from the brilliant Conan O'Brien, #Team Coco. On his last night hosting The Tonight Show, Mr. O'Brien gave his audience this advice, which I believe applies so well to our careers. Please do not be cynical. It doesn't lead anywhere. Nobody in life gets exactly what they thought they were going to get. But if you work really hard and you're kind, amazing things will happen. With that, I'll thank you for your attention and congratulations to the Stanford School of Medicine, class of 2015.